Well, I think the idea of vengeance, the idea of revenge is at the core of all of the Japanese horror movies. The vengeful ghost is something that is obviously innate in their culture and has definitely come to the forefront of Japanese horror movies.
I think Japanese, we tend to repress our emotions, especially like negative, like anger, but the more we repress it, I think those emotions get bigger.
The original curse of the Grudge that came from Kayako and Toshio being killed by Takeo gave birth to this amazing vengeance.
It's a scary concept. It's something that you can't really get away from.
When the Grudge curse takes a hold of you, there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's going to come after you and eventually it's going to kill you.
Scene 4, take 2, become.
Martin. And action. The Grudge 3 is about, it's about a family of people who are struggling to survive just their everyday lives and are then, because of the haunting of the Grudge curse, thrust into dealing with things that are way beyond their control.
The challenge of this movie was to stay true to the franchise, but to also offer something fresh and new to the story.
Well, obviously, stepping into the shoes of Takashi Shimizu, there's a huge amount of groundwork that the fans are, on board with already, and there's a definite look and feel to those movies. It's very carefully planned. There's lots of slow movements, lots of suspense building. So, to a degree, I try to, be mindful of that and make the movie feel like it's part of this bigger story.
One of the ways we tried to distinguish this film was to expand upon the idea of the curse.
The speed and aggressiveness that it haunts you with is something that's changed from film to film. This incarnation of Kayako, I feel, is faster and more terrifying, and the attacks and the kills, I think, are much more violent than they have been in the other movies.
I think she's really scary. I really do. I think she's nailing it. I'm kind of keeping my distance from her, actually. I'm a bit spooked.
I always thought that the CGI did all the weird body movements, but that girl does it herself, and it was terrifying.
I think the way Kayako moves obviously is so iconic and so unique to the Grudge movies that we did our very best to recreate it.
One of the things we saw established throughout the Grudge franchise is the Takeo story and his influence on other males.
The spirit of Takeo ends up possessing Max, basically turning him into a reincarnation of those killings.
It's a lot of fun for me as an actor to be able to play with all these different colors.
Towards the end of the process, he had to go to some very dark places.
Gil's such a nice and charming guy, but you definitely see him on the side getting worked up and don't want to talk to him while he's doing that.
One of the new ideas we introduce here in Grudge 3 is that this curse can be contained.
That there's a way to stop the curse and bring it to an end comes to the forefront.
Well, then why would you come here?
To put an end to it.
It's sort of an American take on this story. There has to be a way to stop it. It's a very positive outlook.
Please, Rose. You can end it. You can make the bad go away.
Come on, Rose. Come on.
And so they have the seance, which Naoko performs. But because it's cut short, she ends up falling victim to the curse.
The ending was a surprise for me because I didn't know that I'm going to be a ghost.
Who's a completely new and completely different character who has her own unique way of movement and her own unique sound. As Max smashes her knee, breaking her leg, it gives her this very unique style of movement. She's going to walk like this. Boom. And this is where she's going to then adjust, find her balance, her head goes back. She's unable to walk on both legs. She takes this sort of stumbling, slamming gait. And action. And the fact that her spinal cord was essentially severed gives her this very sort of strange, almost ragdoll type of movement. She has a saw blade stabbed through the back of her throat. And stab. Ow. Which does a certain type of damage and ends up creating this sort of horrific, gurgling, breathing sound as she approaches and kills Max in the end. And it also informs how she then kills her victims. The fundamental fact is that once you run into this curse, once this curse has a hold of you, there is nothing you can do to outrun it. There is no escape. I don't think we've heard the last of Kayako's ghost.